Welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast hosted by Rohdey and Diz. The boys will share their tall tales of the one that got away, as well as some regular segments they know all you fishing tragics will enjoy.
G'day and welcome to All the Gear But No Idea, the South Australian fishing podcast. Diz?
Better, thanks.
Yes, we'll crack a 4X tonight. We're really moving through the beer fridge, aren't we?
Yeah, interesting. I would have thought probably something a bit more of a local ale might have been more appropriate for a South Australian podcast.
Look, when Bill leaves beers in your fridge, you got to drink them.
Yeah, good shout, good shout. Righto, Rohdey, we've got a huge episode today. We've got the man behind Sportsfishing Scene and Clift. A wealth of knowledge. He'll make us very, very jealous of his fishing trips all around the world, and we look forward to having a chat with him later on today.
We do, Diz. He's an absolute icon of South Australian fishing. I remember going in there with your old man on the way over to Yorks and buying bits and pieces back in the day when we were kids.
Yeah. No, he's an excellent operator. It's an absolute go-to if you're in his area, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But, of course, if you are travelling out of town, Yorks, like you mentioned, Rohdey, it's a great stop-off to get a bit of know-how before you're on your next trip.
All right, Diz, let's keep moving. Let's get into the oranges and lemons. What have you got for us this week?
Well, orange for me, Rohdey, has been touch wood because, of course, we don't want to put the mockers on them, but porter on a roll.
5 straight.
The pitchforks have been put away for those calling for Kenny's head.
Geez, if we lose this week, though, they'll be coming for your head, putting the bloody jinx on us.
Yeah, they will be. But no, they've had a few gutsy wins.
They have, hard fought. Haven't been playing, 4 amazing quarters.
No, they haven't.
But haven't been doing enough.
Yeah, they have been. That's right. They've been doing just enough. They haven't been setting the world on fire, but a few gutsy wins is good to get the points early on in the season.
Exactly right, Diz. Now, I am going to say we haven't had the best time of fishing lately. We haven't really been out on the had the boat out or anything, but it was good to get out the other weekend for a little bit of a throwback to our school days and have a crack at some carp in the Torrens, Diz.
Yeah, it was great, mate. It was a bit of a gloomy day. We weren't too sure about the weather, but the better halves, or Lucy and Millie and the kids, were keen for a bit of a walk around the zoo, so no better opportunity for us to ditch that and go and flick a few bits of corn in the Torrens, and you came up trumps, mate. You outfished me comfortably.
I did, Diz. That first carp was a big hooer, wasn't it?
It was, and we got there, saw the guy on the other side of the Torrens hook one and try and flick it onto the bank and drop the fish. And then we sort of thought, oh, geez, we're on here. This will be good. And then we sort of went quiet for a while, but then, you hooked a nice carp.
And then we got a couple of smaller carp. We got a freshwater catfish fish, which was good. Never caught one of them when we were younger.
Yeah, that was interesting. It sort of it did look like a shopping bag as we were sort of dragging it in.
And because that was a double header with a carp too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Not too uncommon for the Torrens, but
we did pull in a bit of debris.
Pleasing to see that it was a catfish. So we got that back to the water safely, obviously, and the two. How many carp?
I think 3. Yeah, 2 small ones and a big one.
Sort of wound up on the bank, of course, and inevitably in the bin.
Disposed of humanely, of course.
Yes. That goes without saying.
All right, Diz, what's your lemon?
So my lemon is undoubtedly over the last few days. Winter's here. It's been freezing.
It was fine until like 4 days ago, and then it's just hit us.
Sunday was absolutely freezing. I could not believe how cold it was. We got out. Ned was keen to get outside for a walk, gets a bit of sort of cabin fever inside our house, and the sun was out, and I thought, beautiful day to go for a walk. Got outside. It was freezing.
Don't you hate this time of year because it's only getting worse? It's only getting colder.
That's what I mean. Like once you declare winter's here, it's downhill from there. We're going to talk a bit more about winter later because we've got some garments coming up for you that'll sort you out. Before we do that though, Rohdey, what's your lemon?
Diz, we went to have a little midweek fish feed the other day, and it took me quite a while to rummage through the freezer and find any whiting fillets. So I'll tell you what that means.
Yeah, we got to get out.
We're running low. And that'll mean we're in the bad books, Diz. If we can't put a bit of whiting on the table once a week, we're not doing too good for ourselves.
That's right. It is a delicate balance because you don't want to be in that predicament where you've got none and then you're putting real heat on yourself to have a successful trip. But unfortunately, when you get a string of bad weather, bit of work, haven't got time to get out on the boat, then that's what happens.
You also don't want too many because then there's no incentive to go out.
Exactly.
So you want to give away a few, keep the friends and families in the good books.
That's right. I suppose by the time you come back, even if you get a good feed, say you get a bag out, we split it, obviously. So 10, that's 20 fillets each. You give them off to a few friends and family and it's done.
Yeah. Perfect, Diz. All right, let's keep moving. Let's talk about merch, Diz.
Yeah, so as I said, winter's here. Of course you need a beanie. We had them on down at the Torrens. You had them on down at Carrick on the weekend. No doubt.
Dropped one down to Kristen Goodchild and she had hers on the weekend. I saw in a couple of photos.
Yeah, fierce supporter. We love that. We love it.
So hit us up on Facebook, Instagram. Give us a message if you want one and we'll organise it. $25, $5 postage if you're not sort of, close enough for us to drop it off.
I'm going to throw it out there. If you've got a beanie in the monthly photo comp, you're a red hot chance.
Oh yeah. I'm
not saying these are randomly drawn prices. I'm not saying we're going to jinx it. No. This is an ethical podcast you're dealing with here. But if you've got a beanie on, I'd say your chances are doubled.
Oh yeah, Diz. So that does bring us into the monthly photo. Keep them coming. We've had a few entries already this month, Diz.
Couple of good ones already.
And we did drop off last couple of months I've delivered the goods and Cadell rocked up in his Port Adelaide fishing shirt to collect his Shimano pack.
Yeah, he would have loved that.
He was happy.
Yeah, excellent. We love that. We've got a lot of good use out of that quality gear from Shimano.
We do, Diz, and we've got a Shimano combo ready to go for next month. That's going to be another big competition.
Yeah, that's right. So as we said a while ago, we've been very lucky enough to have Shimano supporting some excellent prize giveaways, and we can't wait for this one because it's going to be a good one.
And I think we'll go whiting, winter whiting.
Yeah, I'm thinking whiting because, like you say, it's a good time to get out and target them. And I think a lot of people will be doing it, that's for sure. We just got to hope that the weather lines up nicely on those weekends when most people can get out.
I think that'll include the June long weekends. That gives everyone a good opportunity, an extra day off work.
Good shout. All right, Rohdey, that just about wraps up the merch and comps. Keep them coming through, though. Let's get on to the next segment.
Rohdey and Diz have been searching far and wide to bring you the latest news across all fishing in the state, and we'll give you the rundown on what you need to know.
Kick us off, Rohdey. What do we got in the news segment?
Diz, the state government is providing $300,000 to establish the Seafood Industry South Australia Incorporated, which is going to, deliver on a long-standing sort of something that the key figures in the seafood industry have wanted. It's going to give them a voice and represent their common interests. So that's including wild catch, aquaculture, fish processors, and retailers. So the seafood in the South Australian economy directly employs 6,700 people and generates approximately $440 million, Diz, and that's going to have an impact on wreck fishing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, no question. It's good to hear.
It's good to hear that it's done responsibly. We've just got to make sure that wreck fishing is appropriately represented as well.
Yeah, well, that's right. We definitely want that, and wreck fish has demonstrated its value most recently with the updated figures.
And I think that's what we want, Diz. We want a win for all parties. We want a good seafood industry in South Australia, but we also want, a good share of the pie for the fishers.
Yep, absolutely. Righto, Rohdey, thanks for that one, mate. Let me now take you across to Whyalla, and of course in the budget there's been a huge announcement for Whyalla in the hydrogen plant, so I'm sure that Whyalla is only going bigger and bigger and bigger. But this one comes from the newly developed jetty there, Rohdey.
The circular jetty you're talking?
The circular jetty. It's a very popular place for those who visit the area. Of course, some great diving in that area, other things we've covered off from time to time. But reporting straight out of the Whyalla fishing page, there has been some naughty behaviour going on, Rohdey.
Tell me, Diz, what's been going on?
Well, I'm hearing rumours of shellfish being plucked from pylons and used as burley. frowned upon.
Illegal too, not just frowned
Yeah.
upon.
Frowned upon and like you say, illegal. We do not like that. It can potentially affect the integrity of the actual structure.
Oh,
The structure is developed to allow for the growth of these mollusks and that sort of thing. And you don't want to rip them off.
No,
Might
we
cause further damage.
we don't want that circular jetty coming down.
No, we don't.
So it's illegal to remove shellfish in the intertidal zone or something? Is that the rule?
Yes. Yep, that's right. We don't want that. I think the main concern when you're pulling these things off is that you can potentially affect the paint.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you're ripping the paint off, faster rust, etc., leads to damage.
Fair enough, Diz. Good one.
All right. Now, this one is not a local story, but it is a great example of ways that Ozfish more broadly have done some great work for fisheries across the country, and they continue to do a great job in our fine state of South Australia. But I did like the look of this one, Rohdey. Fish Castle.
Yeah, this was in Victoria, I think, wasn't it? You tagged me in this on Facebook or something?
It was. The Victorian Fisheries, they put a post up. So it's basically some sort of steel mesh cages full with old scallop shells.
Yeah.
And they're using them to attract new growth. They'll create, complex structures that will, obviously ideally lead to more of a diverse habitat and allow for some of that restoration as the years gone by when there's been destruction.
And you'd think that South Australian sort of Wreckfish SA and Ozfish South Australia and things like that would be keeping a close eye on this, Diz, because that was part of the snapper plan, wasn't it?
Yeah, I guess that's why I thought I'd put it in there. And I'm sure that Ozfish more broadly across the country work together on initiatives that have and haven't worked. I know that we've talked about this before about the razorfish.
The KI ones?
The KI ones.
That the artist was putting together.
Yeah, so I think there's enough evidence and research across the country now that these types of things do encourage a more diverse habitat and allow for that ecology to grow. But I'm certainly not a scientist, so I'm not going to get into the technical jargon.
Nah, Diz, I wouldn't want you to. You'll say something stupid.
What's your thoughts on that?
Look, I think keep it to the experts, mate.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good.
And that wraps up the news, does it? That was short but sharp.
Have you even bothered with the news segment this week?
Oh, I have to say, I got to like mid-afternoon today and I had nothing.
You are pathetic. That was a weak news segment.
And that seafood thing literally came out today and saved us.
Geez, I'm glad we've got a good guest and a good tackle item and get us through this episode here.
All right, Diz, speaking of the tackle item.
Yeah.
Now it's time for Rohdey and Diz to really show you what it means to have all the gear with a lot of idea as they review a tackle item of the week.
That segment intro just gets like, I don't know what it is about that sound, but it just gets you excited to go fishing, doesn't it?
Oh, it's hard not to, isn't it, Diz?
Oh, yeah.
All
right,
right.
Rohdey, what do we got?
Now, like we have mentioned about 4 times so far, and we'll probably mention it a few more times, it's cold.
Oh, yeah.
So what do? We went fishing. I went for a fish, and albeit I did go for about 10 minutes and then it started pissing down and I bailed. But anyway, I did go for a quick fish. And what did I do? I wore my waders.
Yeah, smart.
My Desolve Supply Co waders. They're neoprene. They've got good, sturdy boots. They're warm.
Yeah.
And Dizzy, I reckon since we bought our waders, we have committed to fishing more in winter.
Yeah, they are. Oh, geez, I don't know how many times you can say that really you go in, if you're going to go fishing, you might need to you go out and get the boat or you're going down the beach, whatever it is. It turns you off the thought of how cold you might get. And so you need waders for those exact scenarios.
I just think we've committed more to fishing in winter when we know we can stay warm.
Yeah, I think so.
So these ones are the Flow Wader from Desolve Supply Co. $230 on their website. So it is a bit of an outlay, but I think you get your money's worth in terms of
What do you have them
warmth.
for now? 2 seasons?
I reckon this would be the 3rd winter I will have had them, and they look brand new. Compared to going down one of your big chains and buying a cheap pair of rubber ones.
Yeah, those rubber ones are rubbish.
So anyway, 3.5mm neoprene, synthetic boots. They've got a pocket on the front, which I always put my phone and wallet and whatever in because that doesn't get wet. And they're bloody good.
They're good. It's good quality neoprene too.
Yeah.
You know how sometimes you can get that neoprene that just it's really heavy and thick and.
These have they look brand new.
Good qual. Nice. We like that, Rohdey. Waders, for all you diehards who like getting out there in winter, but you might feel the cold a bit more than your average punter and you like getting out there, go down, treat yourself to a good pair of waders, get amongst them, and you'll find yourself out there catching more fish.
All right, Diz, let's get on to our next segment.
Yes.
Now it's time to get our guest on the line. We'll ask them the all-important 5 questions, then chat all things fishing in SA.
Righto, Rohdey, we are very lucky to be joined by Ian Clift, owner of Sportsfishing Scene, an absolute guru of fishing across the state and further afield. Thank you very much for coming on the show, Clifty.
No, you're welcome, guys and listeners.
Beautiful. Let's get straight into those 5 questions we ask all our guests, Ian. Let's start off with you telling us about your best fish.
To have one best fish is pretty hard when you've been fishing for 50 years. So I've probably got a few, and I've been very lucky to travel around a bit. So maybe giant tarpon in Florida, probably my main one. Dogtooth tuna in Vanuatu. Marlin, I've got a few marlin in Exmouth and some GTs and Spaniards. But I still probably like barra fishing as much as anything as well.
You've pretty much just rolled all the good species everyone else talks about into one big answer. So well done, Clift. Yeah. You've trumped everyone.
And they're all worth chasing. You know, it's not like you're just going to do it overnight. You've got to put in a bit of time and make sure you go to the right areas and get the right skipper that knows how to fish hard and go hard when you go away on those trips. It's not about sitting around having a few beers. It's about fishing every minute.
Yeah.
You've got a chance in those areas. You know, you're there a short time. So I usually take one of the staff away each year now and go to somewhere special and give them some memories they will never forget.
All right, look, we're going to go off script here. Where do I send my resume?
Yeah, there's plenty of people that would like to get into the sport fishing scene team. It's not easy because there's not a lot of jobs now available in the tackle industry as we slowly lose stores all over the state, independent stores anyway. So I think you'll be struggling.
Clifty, we'll go back on track now. Tell us your favourite thing about fishing, mate.
I think it's just the solitude, getting away. It helps me relax, even though I work with fishing every single day. It's different when you can just go and target a species and, you know, when I'm out fishing, I zone in and nothing else in the world matters. And I'll put in a lot of effort when I go fishing. I don't just always go for the fun of it. It's always a challenge for me. I'm a pretty competitive person.
Yeah.
As the staff know, when we go fishing, we certainly go hard. No one that fishes likes to get beat by their best mates, that's for sure.
All right, Clifty, what's your first fishing memory or what got you into it?
Don't really have a first memory, but I think as far as I can remember, it was probably the early trips to the Port River, just salmon trout fishing. You know, early mornings, I used to get my mum to drop me down there, leave me there for a day and then pick me up and we'd, you know, fish Torrens Island and all over the port system. I've spent a lot of time in the port system. So probably that got me started, and from there it's just, I don't know, a bit of a love affair with fishing.
It's amazing how many
people.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, you know, most people, you're either really passionate about it or you can't understand people being that passionate.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say, Clifty, it's amazing how many of our guests go from like the bread and butter, salmon, trout, garfish, tommies, whatever it is, and then go on to barra and barrels and big fish and whatever else.
And to understand fishing, you know, a lot of people will jump the queue, just go straight to charter fishing, which some people don't have time to put into fishing, so that's great. But to learn fishing on the jetty next to a 60-year-old, 70-year-old guy that's been fishing all his life and learn from him as a kid, you know, that's how I got started, was learning off older guys on the Grange jetty and just little different techniques. And what I have learned in the sort of 40 years I've been working in the industry is to listen to everybody. Every customer that comes in that's catching fish and says something, you always put that in the memory bank.
Yeah.
So you can, next time you're out, if things are going really, really wrong, You just remember, oh, geez, that old bald-headed guy at Sportsfishing Scene, he told me to, do this, and sometimes it works, So that's a bit of the passion for me, and I like to teach people.
Yeah, I've got
new people how to get going.
I got one tip for you, Clifty. If Dizzy comes in the store, just sort of ignore what he says. He'll point you in the wrong direction.
No, that's right. I'll just listen and then,
do the opposite.
It's just important to always listen.
Yeah, it is it's such a fishing has, the theories that people come up with are really quite interesting, aren't they? And a lot of them, like you say, sometimes they'll just come off when you least expect them, and half the time you don't know whether it was luck or coincidence or whatever it might have been. But you're right that everyone does have a story to tell, or the way that they've targeted them or whatever else, and there's always something to learn.
Oh, definitely. And look, I'm still learning. I've probably spoken to more fishermen than anyone in this state over that 40-odd years of working in the trade. And it's changed heaps. The technology of some of the gear now is just unbelievable. Rod technology, lighter, stronger. It's really been the forefront of fishing, I think, has been the rods improvement for the money.
Yeah, excellent. Well, we'll get into a bit of that later on. Tell us for now your favourite sort of fishing and why, Clifty.
Favourite fishing, there's two. I love to barra fish because it's remote and so unpredictable as to what you're going to hook when you're throwing lures around. And it's all short range. It's all combat that you see happening, and which excites me. And the casting and putting lures right on the money, which you need to do sometimes when you're barra fishing. But the other one would be just local, just plastics fishing for bream. Which I spent maybe 5 years nearly fishing every day, maybe 10 years ago, trying to work it out. And, we had a time there when bream fishing was really strong in the port and the lake, where we'd catch a lot of fish. You could go and catch 50 legal fish in the morning, on plastics.
Wow.
Now you're lucky to catch 5, if you work really hard. And we're not sure why that is, because the river's in better condition, I think, than it's ever been in, water quality-wise. But there seems to be less fish in there at the moment. So whether it's the seals, when we had all those seals on the breakwater, or dolphin, I don't know. I really don't know. Or it could be environmental or something we don't know about. So bream fishing with plastics, I do find that a really big challenge, is to pull those fish out of heavy structure.
Yeah, it's great that you can go all around the world and catch these amazing fish, but then you love coming back home and doing what you grew up doing. That's really great, Clifty.
You got to keep at it, and you got to keep your skills up and keep learning. And as long as you keep learning, you'll get better at what you do. The guys at the shop for customers, they really do want to help the learners that come in.
Yeah.
A lot of them get intimidated. Just, come on in and we'll do everything we can to help you catch fish.
All right, Clifty, in amongst all these fishing trips, you must have a funny story or the one that got away.
Well, again, I've probably got a few, but the 2 last trips I've been away, basically Exmouth, I've got smashed by a big wave, stuffed my shoulder, I'm just getting over the surgery. The year before, I went to Dippery, fell over in the barra boat, did my knee, came home and had that surgery. So I'm on a bit of a roll for things going wrong. But probably the fish that hurt me the most losing is actually a bream in West Lakes, which probably sounds strange when I've done the fishing I've done, but I had fished for bloody 3 years in this one spot trying to catch a 50 centimetre plus fish, and finally got one on, then panicked and went to lift it out of the water, shortened the leader, which you shouldn't do because it took the stretch out of the leader, and the line broke, and that was the biggest rookie mistake I've ever made in my life. But I stood on the side of West Lakes pacing up and down, screaming at the top of my lungs insanities that I'm amazed I didn't get arrested, because I wasn't just yelling, I was screaming.
We'll say that one ticks off both the boxes, the funny story and the one that got away, because I was feeling a bit sorry for you after your first 2 attempts at a funny story.
Look, I've got a few, but, just a quick one. Fishing away far west coast, I used to do the Mulloway thing in the old days. And you used to camp in the sand hills, and you'd have these portable little seat dunnies that were just like a camp chair, but they were shaped like a dunny. You'd take it up in the sand hills, do whatever you got to do. But when you're sitting on it, if you slightly move, they collapse. So the next thing you know what happens is you've just finished doing what you went there to do, and the seat collapses, and you land ass first in a sandy hole. You know what? And when you're in the far west coast, it's not like you can just go to a shower and have a good clean.
No, you're stuck like that for a while.
I spent like the next hour with a bucket of salt water scrubbing you know what off myself.
We'll call that Burley anyway, will we?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's keep moving. Thanks for answering those questions, Clifty. Now, we do all know about Sports Fishing Scene, but for those who don't, tell us about it.
Well, Sport Fishing Scene's been going now since 1981. The original owners, George A. Pat and Steve, built the name, built the brand, and I started working there as sort of a Sunday staff while I was actually working for Shimano as the rep for Shimano. So I've done both sides of the industry, selling the stuff to the stores and selling at retail. But the business has been very strong, but it goes through its ups and downs over that period, like all small business, where you're always fighting something that you can't avoid, a bit like what's coming now with the environment that the government's creating with the economy. You know, that'll affect all retail. So, you know, we'll go through another lull and then we'll come back out of that one and get ready for the summer. But yeah, it's just been a part of my life, basically. I wanted to start work there and I eventually got there. I told the owners that eventually I'd be the last one there out of the group that was there and I'd run the place after when I was 19. So I eventually whittled through all the staff, got rid of the owners in the finish and then took over. And I've been doing that for the last sort of 20 years in the new building that we sort of built about 20 years ago. But we're dedicated guys. The guys who work for us are excellent guys and they can really fish. So don't be afraid to ask the questions. That's what we're there for. And even if you think it's a stupid question, you'll be surprised what we've been asked over that time. So don't be afraid to come in and, you know, bust our chops and get every bit of information you can get.
So when
That's what we are there for.
When you do employ someone new, do you just get them to bring in like their 20 best fishing photos, or do you give them a quiz on how to tie a rig, or what do you do?
It's really hard one to get a job with us because it's limited jobs, and the guys that work there generally, my two main guys are 16 years and 12 years, and then I usually get a young guy, which is Tom, that works for us. He started there when he was 14. He's now in uni. And then a couple of other casuals, but very few people ever walk away from the job unless there's something really wrong.
Yeah.
So getting employed in this industry now is very tough for people. But to work at Sport Fishing Scene, you need a really broad knowledge, right from catching mullet to catching tuna to catching marlin to barra to, you know, freshwater. You need a vast knowledge, and I think a lot of guys underestimate how much you've got to know, and they start working for us and generally take 6 months to comprehend, you know, what is actually going on and how much you do need to know. So if that's what you're thinking about doing, anyone, get on YouTube and learn as much as you physically can about knots and general tackle, and because you're going to get everybody come in that store, from the poorest people to the richest, and they'll all they expect us to know those questions. So hence we try to employ the best people we can.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I think anyone can attest who's been into your store that's exactly what you get. You get a wealth of knowledge, a range of everything you could think of is available there, and you do a fantastic job. It's a great location, mate. You must be flat stick leading into those public holidays as people head out of town for long weekends, etc. Is that sort of your busiest time of years?
Yeah, it goes sort of crazy from one extreme to the other, and that's the hardest part about the industry is getting it right when it's going to drop off, which is happening right now with the weather and the economy. So, yeah, you just got to be really careful. You know, keep your eyes on the market. I watch the international markets. I keep an eye on what they're doing over there, because generally what happens there within 6 months to a year, it's happening out here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you got to be on it all. Just, you know, keep at it and keep positive and try to find what's next, because there'll always be someone beat you to the punch, and it's always good to be first if you can.
And what about, Clifty, what's the split of people going after like your trophy fish, like your barrels or your kingfish or whatever, versus those wanting to get a feed of garfish or a couple of mullet or a couple of tommies?
It's probably still, you've probably got your sort of maybe even 5% that will go and chase barrels, because it's an elite type of fishing, you need a serious boat down at Port Mac. Reasonable outfits, $1,500. Lures are like up to $150. So it's not accessible to everybody. So that end of the market, is probably only not even 5% of what we do. For us, it's those summer tuna off Victor. That's really big business. Crabbing, squidding. Crabbing and squidding are probably the two most consistent markets every year. Yeah. Yellowfin whiting's become a big one now with lure fishing for yellowfin whiting.
Yeah.
So that base market is still, a good 75% of our turnover.
Yeah. And
so it's really important.
Can you tell us about some of the other things you do? I know my Saragossa need a new bearing and one of your teams sorted me out ASAP. So you do some pretty good work with the maintenance side of things as well?
Yeah, reel repairs is pretty strong for us. I don't think a lot of the stores do their own repairs. Most of them send them off. We try to do it all in store. Quite often Darren will be sitting at his desk right in front of everybody doing reel repairs during the day so people get a gist of, we're not sending them away. We have parts everywhere out the back to fix reels from the 1980s right through till now, a collection of reels when customers have broke something we can't fix. They keep the reel. We put them all out the back so that odd person that walks in from the country that's had his reel for 20 years and wants a handle screw, 90% of the time we've got something out the back. But that and rod repairs, rigging your lures, we'll put your hooks on for you, we'll tie the rigs for you, we'll put the line on the reels, put the rod together, put the rig on, get it ready basically so you can just turn up where you're going, put your bait on and start fishing.
I was going to say you'd just about bait our hooks for us, would you?
Yeah, if you're going to the right area, probably drag one of us along. But it's really important, to help people, understand fishing. There's a lot more to it than people think.
And that's it. Everyone has to start somewhere. We all started having no idea at some point, and, people like yourselves are the ones that, help those real beginners get into it.
Yeah, and we all started there, and we all understand it's frustrating when you stand next to a guy who catches 10 fish and you don't catch anything. But there's generally a reason for that. So always take a close eye if you're jetty fishing on that one person. There's always somebody on the jetty that seems to outfish everybody. And there's usually a reason for it. Just keep a close eye on what they're doing and don't get in their way is a pretty good idea.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, Clifty, you did tell us earlier, so 1980 – when did you start at Sportsfishing Scene?
I started casual around about 88, somewhere around about there.
Okay, yeah. And that what a journey. You must have seen an enormous amount of tackle changes and technology over the years.
The technology available now to the rec angler, if you'd gone back 20, 25 years ago and thought this was going to be available, we would have said you were dreaming. Be able to go over with your sounders now and look left, right, forward, live targeting, all this stuff, and GPS, from going from when we were fishing a lot with landmarks, which I actually liked because a lot of people couldn't find your spots as easy. But with GPS now, it's made it, made everything available. The maps are so good. But rods and reels, look, the basics haven't changed, just the technology in the way they build them. I've got a rod at the shop that one of my first rods, and you compare it to now, and it's just, chalk and cheese to the quality of the product you're buying now.
And probably the $1 million question, but you're probably the man to know because you do follow it so closely overseas. What do you think's next? What's going to be the next sort of big thing in fishing tackle?
I was just looking in the International Trader magazine. They're all a little cautious at the moment with the world economy. It's the same as here.
Yeah.
So I've got a feeling we won't see as much new product this year until maybe the year after as things start to settle down overseas a bit. But, I've been to trade show wise, I've been to 30 odd trade shows, Australian trade shows, been to the one in America, so I've seen a lot of fishing gear. And it takes a fair bit to excite me now. When you bring rods in to show me or reels, it's a bit like, whatever.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah. It's all the same. So I let Darren, one of my main staff, look at a lot of that newer product these days. He sees it a bit differently. And
Clifty, you've talked a bit about the ups and downs of the tackle industry. Tell us about the snapper stuff. I know you've been pretty involved and been involved in the planning of sort of the wreck fish statement and things like that. How's that affected you as a business, and do you think the recreational industry as a whole?
Look, initially we all thought, shit, we'll be shut in a week. Everyone would stop fishing, chuck in the towel and spit the dummy out, which a lot of people did. But after about a month of it, people sort of realised they love fishing, not so much always about catching a snapper. People got back into it. Luckily, we've had that run of bluefin tuna at Victor and Marion Bay. At around the same time, most people did a lot of their snapper fishing. So a lot of them transitioned to the tuna fishing, which actually saved most of the stores, I reckon.
Yeah.
But the snapper fishery, I have been involved a fair bit, and in the blue crab fishery for 3 or 4 years. But the snapper fishery, you can believe the science or you don't believe the science, but what other option have we got?
Yeah.
And they come forward with the science. And if you believe the science, then that closure again had to happen.
Yeah.
And I had predicted to people and told them early on, I think we'll get another 3 years. But there was rumours everywhere on radio and everywhere else that it was opening, and there was never an intention to open that fishery. So we've got 3 years more pain, and they won't keep it shut again. It'll definitely open after that 7-year break. We'll move forward, and it'll give us all a bit of a boom. So any of the stores that are finding it tough, if they hang in for a couple more years, that snapper fishery will open, and we'll get a boom probably a year while everybody goes crazy trying to catch a snapper. But the industry it just changes all the time. There's no who knows what's going to happen tomorrow sort of thing with our industry. But the support we've had from, and I'll probably cop crap over this, but the support we've had from Sardi and Purser, I think, has been really poor towards the rec industry over the last 20 years. But now with that survey that we've been waiting for like 12 months, finally came out with the numbers that we put into the industry, it certainly has evened the playing field in the eyes, I think, of the minister. So it'll be interesting to see. I think it's the first time the government's really listened to Recfish SA and supporting people, which I think is a great sign. And everyone's expecting things to get fixed in the first year of their government, but that's not going to happen. We need to keep them in power for another term as well, so we get 8 years to work with them to get something out of it for the rec industry.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you're right. You feel like there's a lot of traction there with Recfish and working closer with the government around a lot of these, initiatives, and we certainly hope that continues, because I think you're right. A lot of people are definitely looking forward to what the future might hold, and sure, there'll be some grumpy people about the snapper fishery, but there always is those keyboard warriors and idiots
everything.
like that.
And you get the guys, a lot of people are still anti-Recfish SA, which I don't quite get, because they've still got shit on the liver about the marine parks, and what happened back. That's 20-odd years ago.
Yeah.
Let's just move forward, guys. We've got quite a good group of young people, and I've met them all that are involved at Recfish. They are very genuine about trying to make change for us. Yeah. And they're very forward. They're not taking a backward step. Andrew Harris and Asher, they're quite solid people when it comes to an argument. So I think Andrew and Asher will get us some results, and the rest of them. But they're the two I deal with mainly, and they're both good guys, and they're both aggressive, and they're both after helping us get the fishery under control.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They're certainly passionate about it. They're on our side, and if we don't get behind them, they've only got half the sort of firepower than if we all get behind them.
And the more firepower, the more people that, whether you have got an issue with Recfish or not, they are the governing body. So we either support them or the government's going to keep pushing us aside.
Yeah, exactly.
The numbers give votes. Votes is what they're all about. So until you actually can threaten that vote in some way or some form, they don't really listen to you.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to be able to pull that lever somehow. It's been, you must have been happy seeing the results of that survey. You'd been working in the industry for that long. You'd know that those numbers they were talking were rubbish, and it must have been refreshing to see them updated.
Yeah, because I did actually ask the guy from Purser how they came up with their original number of 160 million.
Yeah.
When you looked at it, it was just a ludicrous number. you know. Yeah. When I challenged him, he said, "Oh, well, the other states, you know, they went to the nth degree. We just did a Deloitte survey and made some phone calls." Well, you know, really, that's not going to cut it these days. You need to get the numbers and not protect that commercial industry as much as what they have done in the past.
He certainly went pretty quiet that night when you stood up at the West Lakes pub, I reckon.
Yeah, he didn't say much because he knew that figure was just shit.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
You put him back in his spot very quickly, I thought.
Yeah, but look, I'm very passionate about the fishery, and I'll do whatever I can. I've always helped wreck fish from the side, and I've been offered positions at wreck fish, but I prefer to stay independent where I can stick my nose in things and not cause an issue for wreck fish. So I'm only too happy to do some of the dirty work, which is all good.
Yeah, no, we need people like you doing that, Clifty.
Well, we need more. You know, I think sometimes the representation from the retail stores is very poor. Mm-hmm. You know, in the past, when anything Wreckfish has tried to do, the stores really haven't got behind it. They're always worried about the backlash or the fallout. But the thing is, we're trying to grow the industry. And if one person's fighting the battle, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, we all need to get together and power into the government while they're listening, you know, because we could get a new fisheries minister after 4 years and then all the hard work's gone. So you need to make the most of it right now, and everybody needs to get behind Wreckfish SA.
Yeah, exactly right, Clifty. Now, you've told us about some of your trips overseas and around Australia. On an average week, how often do you get out fishing?
These days, I probably go whiting fishing 4 or 5 times a year. Yep. And then I have one trip away every year to somewhere on the planet to go fishing.
And then you spend the other 340 odd days a year just talking about fishing in the shop.
That's it. Talking fishing and talking to the government about tax and all the rest of the shit that small business has. But, you know, it's part of it. We enjoy it. The guys at work enjoy it. And like I say, we're only too happy to help people. If you come in with the right attitude, you'll get the right service. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you're not wrong there, mate. You're fantastic at what you do. Your advocacy is excellent, mate, and we can't thank you enough for it. You've been very generous with your time. Thank you very much for coming on the show, mate. It's been great to hear some insights from you. Make us very jealous with all your fishing trips. And, for all the listeners out there, we can't encourage you enough to go down and see you, Clifty, or your team of very dedicated people down there at Sports Fishing Scene. So thanks again, mate.
No, thanks for the chance to come on and speak the Sport Fishing Scene name, which we like to keep driving. And, there's not many independent stores left.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know, and it's going to get harder and harder. So we've got to keep pushing hard, and hopefully the people will, keep supporting us. We've got great customers, extremely loyal customers, that we've had for years. And I've served their kids and now their kids, 3-4 generations sometimes of families. It's great to see the whole family over a period of 20 odd years come through the store.
Yeah, and you're right. There's nothing like the tips and advice and help you get when you do go to an independent fishing shop.
No, definitely. And, there's always going to be your BCF and anacondas in the world. If we think we're going to get rid of them as a recreational industry, you're dreaming. So you've got to just do it better yourself, and take them on head on. Don't get paranoid because they're big that they can do it better. I don't think they do it good at all. I think they just have big places full of shit with no service. And, so if you want to be served properly and get individual service, and come to the Sport Fishing Scene if you're in our area. And if not, go to your local store. I'm all for promoting shopping with your local guy. So if you've got someone close to you, get in there, get hold of his ear and find out as much as you can.
Beautiful, Clifty. You've hit the nail on the head. Thanks for your time, and everyone get down to Sports Fishing Scene and get the best advice in town.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, mate.
Dears, what a pleasure to chat with Clifty.
Geez, a wealth of knowledge, Rohdey.
He's a guru.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we alluded to, it's a great location for if you're heading out of town.
Yeah, it is. It's on the way out to Yorks, Riverland, anywhere out that way.
Yeah. And
Port Augusta and Eyre Peninsula.
You've just described basically that when you're going to those different areas, you're likely going to be targeting different things.
Yeah.
And so you want to get in there and have a chat with the gurus in there. What do you say? 12 years, 14 years, and Clifty's been doing it since 88.
And I think it was Darren who fixed my reel
Yeah.
to Saragossa. That was so good and so quick.
Yeah.
And he, I just described it. I said, it's making this clicking noise, blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, yeah, I know what to do. And he just did it.
Yeah.
And it was a simple fix, but he just knew what to do straight away.
Yeah, that's so good. We love that. Yeah, get around him, Rohdey. That was great to have a chat with Clifty. Very, very, very knowledgeable. Rohdey, let's get into the fishing report, mate.
Rohdey and Diz have been out on the water to bring you the news about where they're biting. Now it's time for the fishing report.
I feel like this is going to be something that we're covering off in every single fishing report with how well Tice has been going. But Want to Fish charters have been smashing the barrels.
Oh, there's some barrels in the southeast, isn't there?
Unbelievable. I know other people have been doing them. We
Port
love,
MacDonnell Fishing Charter's getting them too.
Yeah.
Who we went out with last year.
Yeah, we do love
Jason,
what Tice
I think it
has
is.
got. Yeah, Jace. Yep, he's out there doing well. And Tice has been smashing them amongst others. There's lots of photos going up. Plenty of fish being caught around that sort of 70.
Yeah, I was going to say
70,
no
80 kilo
real big
marks.
ones, but a lot between 60 and 105.
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah, I mean, you see the odd report. I think Tice might have either got one to the boat at an estimated 110 or always harder, of course, when you're estimating. But
Didn't they get 160 last year? Was that Bodie?
Yeah, well, I know there was an absolute... Well, I think Bodie's wife or partner got an absolute monster. Tice was telling us on the show.
That's right, yeah.
So, yeah, definitely some big fish caught. But, yeah, I think noticeably a lot of sort of 60, 70, 80 kilo fish being caught.
I wouldn't be complaining though, Diz.
No, they still are big. They just... When they get 100, they just seem to get girthy.
Yeah. All right, Diz, what else? Down the road from Port MacDonnell is Portland, just across the border in Victoria. And what have they been catching there?
Dolphin fish.
How good is that?
Unbelievable. I think there was a report a while ago about some Spanish mac being caught off Portland, maybe 3-4 years ago. So, yeah, that's amazing. That's unreal.
And, it wasn't heaps of them, but it wasn't one either. There's been multiple boats catching mahi-mahi or dolphin fish.
Yeah, geez, that would be epic.
Oh, I'd love to catch one of them.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
I remember going
such
on a charter
really
off
fish.
off Belize, which is a little country in Mexico. And this American bloke who ran the charter, he was just, when you go on a charter and they're like, oh, we should get something or we might get this or he was like, we will get mahi-mahi. We will get them. There is no doubt we will get them. We went out, it absolutely poured down. It was raining sideways. We couldn't catch the bloody bait to catch the mahi-mahi. And this bloke was so confident. Anyway, never caught one. I'd love to.
I would have loved to see the look on your face because no better when somebody who knows what they're talking about talks you into something. It would have just been chomping at the bit.
And I was drinking tequila with the scuba dive dude the night before at the sports club. So I was easily convinced too.
Very good. We digress. Rohdey, let's talk about a bit of an update for those punters out there who like getting down to the Torrens.
Yeah, Diz, we fished just near that uni bridge, the green one.
Yeah, great little spot. Nice little picturesque spot. Great little clearing there for friends and family if you want to get down there for an afternoon or a morning of fishing. That's where they were biting.
Yeah, and corn was the bait, but bread's good too.
Yeah, corn and bread seem to be equally as effective.
Remember, we've written another article for SA Angler that will appear at some point about going back to our roots and carp fishing by the Torrens. But remember back in the day when we used to make the dough?
Yeah.
And we'd put aniseed oil and we'd put all different things in it and we'd use corn soup with bread mix and we would do all sorts of weird combinations.
Yeah, we would.
But the corn was fine, wasn't it?
Yeah, the corn was fine. Nothing wrong with putting 4 or 5 kernels on a hook and flicking it out there.
And the best thing about it is it's simple.
Yeah.
You take a simple rig, a rod or a hand line, a pair of pliers, and that's basically it. A can of corn or a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Geez, we kept some walkers entertained, didn't we?
Oh, so many people wanted to chat, didn't they?
Oh, everyone wanted to stop and have a look and ask whether we caught anything. It was great. It was a nice day. Everyone was out and about. Weekend, of course. So, good little fishing trip down the Torrens, Rohdey.
And so the final tally was 3 carp, 1 freshwater catfish.
Yeah, we were out there for what, probably an hour and a half, something like that.
And some of that was feeding babies and carrying on.
Carrying on, that's right. Rohdey, the winter whiting, they're starting to come in and some good catches.
Yes, I'm hoping to clear up the next couple of weekends and get into them. But, they are seeming to turn up.
Yeah, the usual suspects doing very well on them. Gowan, Fishing Charters, Insane at Steve Contos down there.
Yeah, they're
all doing very well.
They're all getting into them, and they should only get better from here.
Yeah, and heaps of reports of people who are just getting down there, getting into them. So it's good. Hopefully we have a good run of them.
Haven't seen heaps Metro yet. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, I haven't. We haven't been out Metro for a long time.
You'd also think those that are getting them might not be sharing them.
Probably. Yeah, they want to keep that one close to the chest, I imagine.
All right, Diz, you got Garfish here over in York. Is that your old man?
Garfish, yeah. A couple of reports from Dad's mates been actually beach fishing down that way. Yeah, just getting a bit of a slick going from the beach. We're talking incoming
gents for bait.
Yeah, just flicking out some gents on a burley spring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So on a float, of course, makes things a lot easier when you're garring, but of course, delicious eating.
Oh yeah. What about nice crumbed butterflied garfish?
Yeah, beautiful. Bit fiddly. You need to know what you're doing when you're filleting them.
You want to fillet like 20 of them.
Yeah, you got to get your eye in.
You got to get your eye in, yeah. Your first one takes you a while when you haven't done it for a while.
Yeah.
And what do you need? You need a butter knife.
Yeah, you want one of those.
Butter knife.
You want a really nice and flexible butter knife.
Similar to the scalloping knife, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very similar to that. And you want one of them just because the bones are finicky. So you want to be able to sort of, it's kind of almost like taking a rib cage off of a King George.
And is it fair to say that that was probably the downside of your parents knocking over the old shack and building a new one, that we can't find the garfish knives anymore?
In fact, I was so I think there's someone, Alan Johnson.
Yeah, makes them.
Yeah. And he puts them up. He does a lot of knife services, sharpening, et cetera, but he's always got a really good collection of those old school butter knives.
Let's just get like 4 and leave them over there.
Yeah, we should. We definitely should. Good call. Plenty of flathead coming from Eyre Peninsula. Seen plenty of catches. The men's force were over there recently.
Yeah, Diz. They're the good size flathead, a lot of them too.
Oh, yeah. Some real good and really good chewing. I'm sure some of them would have been released, maybe, but good chewing always. Good fun catching them in the shallows on some soft plastics.
Nothing like a good feed of flathead, Diz.
Love that. All right, Rohdey. That's been a great episode, mate.
It has, Diz. We've covered it all. We've had Clifty from Sportsfishing Scene. That was a good fishing report. A brief news segment.
I was going to say, probably the lemon of the episode might have been the news segment.
But I'm serious. We tried hard to find something this week.
Anybody got any news segments out there, just send them through retrospectively.
In all seriousness, if you've got something you want to promote, a fishing competition you're running, something coming up that you want us to put in our news and let people know about, reach out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It makes our job easy.
That's right. That's exactly right.
All right, Diz, where do you find us?
You can find us on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram. We've always got something going on up there. And, of course, we're sharing everybody's photos who's entering our monthly comp. Watch that space very closely because, like we mentioned, there's going to be a combo up for grabs very shortly. And, of course, you'll be able to find the podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts, or just follow us on Facebook. Jump on the Buzzsprout feed and you'll get on there, and you can even find all of our other episodes. You can go back through the catalogue. You can go back to 1 if you want.
1 through 81. That's it's a fair old car trip, I reckon.
Yeah, that's a good probably.
You get to Queensland or something.
It'd be 75 hours of listening.
You could get to Cairns and back.
It's a lot of listening.
All right, dudes, that's probably enough. We're talking rubbish.
We are. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Rohdey and Diz hope you enjoyed today's episode of All the Gear But No Idea. Keep up to date by liking and sharing us on Facebook and Instagram. And you can subscribe on all the major podcast platforms. Until next time, good luck fishing.